Hey, what's up guys? My name is Tate, and this is a video that I have wanted to make for a few months now, but I just haven't really gotten around to it, and that is the video concerning my experience with getting top surgery as a non-binary person. So the main reason I wanted to make this video was because when I was looking into getting top surgery and when I was going through the process of actually doing it, I would look online for experiences of people like me, and I did not really find a whole lot, and it was a little bit discouraging. Just kind of sad that I didn't really know what I should be expecting. So I thought that if there was, just one more video out there of someone like me, then it might help someone else to not feel the way that I felt, so that would be good. So I do get a lot of questions, and I want to kind of tell my story in a chronological order and hopefully answer all of the questions along the way. I'm going to start not all the way back to my childhood because that would just be too long of a story, and maybe I will make it another video. But I will go back maybe about 4 or so years ago when I got my first binder. Because a lot of people ask me, like, how did you feel? How did you know that it was right for you? And I think that is where I start to think about it. So prior to getting my first binder, I was rather indifferent about my chest for most of my life. I was rather flat-chested anyways, so it was not like my biggest concern, but at the time I had been wearing a lot of like sports bras, and I liked how it made me look, how it made me feel. So I was like, let me just try a binder, like, just experiment, see how it feels. And it made it, like, totally flat, and I was like, this is awesome, like, I want to wear this all the time, and it made me feel really good. And I did not really consider top surgery at first because I didn't think I was trans at the time. I was like, I'm just experimenting, I'm just doing what I want, and it just felt good at the time, so it was what it was. And then at one point I had actually met someone and had someone very close to me who had keyhole top surgery, which I did not even realize was a thing prior to this, and I was kind of like, wow, I can do that. Like, it made it like a real thing for me, that seeing this person have the surgery, and I thought, wow, I can do that. It seemed like more real, and I had the thought in my mind, in the back of my mind, that was maybe something I wanted to do. So something that a lot of people had asked me about was how the experience actually getting the surgery differs if you're a non-binary person versus like someone who's just a binary trans male. I had very good experiences with all of my doctors and therapists except for one. So my first therapist that I went to when I first started considering top surgery, I went to him when I first started having these thoughts. I was like, I want to get the process going. Let me start talking about this. So I knew, honestly, that he was a little bit ignorant, not really that knowledgeable on like non-binary trans people, just based on the way he had talked to me. But I was like, you know what, maybe I'll talk to him, it'll work out, it'll be fine. So I had actually started looking at surgeons, and I made an appointment for a consultation with John Persing. Now, they need you to have a letter from your therapist if you want, like, everything covered by your insurance and everything, and just to make the appointment. I was talking to my therapist. I was like, hey, I made the appointment. Would you be willing to write me a letter? And he asked me, I was wearing, like, a tank top and, like, a sports bra, my jacket over it, because it was cold out. And he was like, open up your jacket. And I was like, what? And he was like, open up your jacket. Like, implying that I'm already flat-chested, so I don't need to get top surgery. It was bad. It was just a really bad experience. And I talked to my partner at the time and told them what happened, and I never went back. So my partner at the time was like, hey, you should find a therapist who, like, specializes in gender, trans people. And that's what I did. I went online and I found my current therapist. He's really great. He's rad. And the first time I saw him, he was so supportive and, like, validating and affirming. And he was like, yeah, if you decide you want top surgery, I'll totally write you a letter. And I was like, yes. Like, it was awesome. And I was so happy after that. And it was just great. So around this time, I also wanted to get on testosterone. So my therapist had referred me to a gender clinic in the state. And I was on testosterone for about 6 months total, and I am currently on it as well. But that is a story for another day. So time passes, things happen. I continue to see my therapist, but a lot of bad things happened. I separated from my partner at the time. I had to move back in with my parents. I was very depressed, really not taking good care of myself, and these things kind of went on the back burner because I just honestly didn't really want to be alive. Like, it wasn't my biggest concern. But like I said, I did continue to see my therapist, and top surgery was in the back of my mind. It just wasn't really my main concern. When things started to improve, I decided at one point that I wanted to go on birth control. Not really thinking too much about it. I was just like, I don't want to get pregnant. So I went on the pill. I had been on it when I was in high school, so I didn't really think too much about it. And I had been taking it for like maybe a month or so. I wasn't really thinking too much about it, but I did notice like changes in my body that I did not correlate at the time. And then one day I went to my therapist and I had mentioned that I was on birth control, the pill. And he was like, oh, how do you feel being on that? And I was like, I mean, I guess it's okay. Like, what do you mean? And he was like, that's estrogen. And I was like, like, it clicked in my mind. I was like, that's why my chest was big, like, bigger than it ever had been. And that's why my ass looks fat. And, like, I just looked very, like, womanly. And I, like, connected the dots in my head, and I was like, okay, this is, like, a confirming thing for me that I really don't want these things. And it was the moment in my mind that I was like, yeah, I think I want top surgery because I feel totally uncomfortable like this. So I do not recommend that as the way of figuring out if you want top surgery or not. But if it does happen to happen, it is a very good way to know if you want top surgery or not. Anyway, I went back to my therapist and I was like, I want top surgery. So he gave me a list of surgeons in Connecticut who would take my insurance, which was really nice of him. And at this point, I had been seeing my therapist for about a year, so there was no trouble with him writing a letter for me and my insurance taking that letter. So I believe you have to been seeing your therapist for at least 6 months for them to write you a letter for top surgery, but I had been, so that was fine. And I went on to schedule a consultation with Charles Castiglione. He's out of Farmington, Connecticut, and he is the one who did my surgery. I had to wait a couple of months to actually get my consultation, and I actually got it postponed a couple months after that because of the corona that happened, but it worked out just fine. So as for the consultation itself, everything went fine for me. I was sometimes referred to as he, him pronouns. My pronouns are they, them. But for the most part, I didn't really care. And for the most part, it was just me and the surgeon talking back and forth. So there wasn't really that much of me being referred to in the third person anyways. So I didn't really care about that. My surgeon was very understanding. I never was dishonest about what my goals were or what my past was. I was always very open and honest about the fact that I was non-binary and my goals were not to pass exclusively as male. You know, I think a lot of people in my position, they might be tempted to lie about something like that just for the purposes of maybe the insurance, or, you know, it's just kind of hard in this world to be a non-binary person because people don't really understand. But I was totally open and honest, and everyone was very understanding. All my doctors, all my nurses, everyone was super cool, and I had a great experience. So now I want to talk about Keyhole method, because when my surgeon saw my chest for the first time, he said right away that I was suitable for Keyhole method, which is really cool. I mean, all top surgery is cool, but this is cool because I, as you can see, don't have visible scarring. I've found that a lot of people don't really know that Keyhole method is a thing, because I have posted before in like r/top surgery, r/non-binary, you know, the subreddits, and people will see my chest and they'll be like, are you sure you got top surgery? Like, where's your scars? Why don't you have scars? And a lot of people do know about, you know, double incision top surgery where they have the scars along here, and that looks cool too. But I didn't need to have all that extra skin removed. So Keyhole is basically like liposuction, I think. The only incision is around the bottom half of the nipple. So everything is sucked out of there, and it's closed up, obviously, and it's just flat, and you can't see any scarring down here, whatever. It's just along the bottom of the nipple. So some people ask me, what is the qualifications for keyhole top surgery? Like, who can get that? And the answer is people with either very small chests or very elastic skin. So I believe it's up to a small B cup can get keyhole top surgery. And it also matters if, you know, some people have the tissue or the skin elasticity is damaged, whether it be from binding, whatever, you know. But people with small chests, good elasticity, they can get keyhole. So anyways, following consultation, I had followed up with my surgeon's scheduler. She was very nice, very good, very nice. And she helped me schedule the actual surgery once I got the letter from my therapist and everything all together. And I had scheduled it for a few months in advance on October 5th. So once I had the surgery actually booked, I had to tell my work at the time that I was gonna need some time off. And some people had asked me, how did your work react, your coworkers? What was that like? So I told my boss that I was getting surgery. I did not tell her what it was for initially, but she was totally understanding, and I think she had an idea of what I was getting. But anyways, she actually offered me to have extra time off. I told her I would need at least 3 weeks off, and she was like, you should have at least a month just to be safe. And I was like, okay. I did tell some of my coworkers what surgery I was getting, because some of them are more like I was more comfortable with, and they were closer to my age, so it was more comfortable to tell them because I knew they would react well. And everyone was really supportive and understanding. Like, some of them, I told them what I was getting, and they were like, oh, I know someone who got that done, and like they are so happy, and things like that. Everyone was really supportive. I didn't tell everyone in my family that I was getting this surgery. Some of my family has been supportive. My parents in particular were not very supportive, at least at first, and I can understand, because anyone who has a child going through surgery, I think, should be concerned, and it is totally understandable to me. But I think they can see now that I am happier and that it was the right decision for me, because I knew it was the right decision for me, even if some of the people I love did not understand why at the time. So some people wanted to know what insurance I had and if I had to pay for it or anything. I had Husky D at the time, which is, I believe, a Connecticut thing. It did cover everything. I did not pay for anything of the surgery, the hospital stay, everything was covered. All I needed was the letter from my therapist detailing why this surgery was a necessity for me, which I got. So everything was covered. Now, for the actual day of surgery, it was October 5th of last year. Oh no, I missed my 6 months. Yeah, it was about 6 months ago now. So I had my partner drop me off in the morning time. It really was not a scary process at all. It, for me, was a very natural process. I mean, me personally, I am very comfortable in like a doctor, hospital setting. So it really was not scary for me at all. And all the doctors and nurses were so nice to me. And they said they liked my hair. So that was really cool. And I was back home in the same day. My partner picked me up. I was feeling a little loopy, but feeling good. They got me some good pain meds, and the recovery process was also rather easy and natural for me. Obviously, I could not move my arms around much at first. It was a long time before I could reach my arms over my head. But it was fine. I did a lot of bed rests, and my partner took good care of me. And it was maybe only a week or so before I was out and shopping again, doing the stuff that I like to do. And also, so I did have drains, and it really was not as scary as you would think it would be. It was kind of a weird feeling when they were pulled out, but other than that, it really was not so bad as I thought it was going to be. One thing I will say that kind of sucked with the recovery is that I lost a noticeable amount of muscle mass. Like, after that, I could not lift anything. I was so weak. I'm getting it back a little bit now, but just not moving, not using my arms or anything for about a month, it really is a noticeable difference. But it's not terrible. It's definitely worth it. Oh, also, it was only about, I think, 4 days before they took the drains out. And that was the same time that I saw my chest for the first time. And I didn't, like, cry or anything because it just kind of felt like, oh, that's how it was supposed to look like. Like, when I would look at my chest previously, before surgery, it just kind of felt like, oh, if these weren't here, then I could see how my body is, like, supposed to look like. So when I saw it for the first time, it was like, like, yeah, that's what it was supposed to look like. So as of now, it's been just over 6 months since I got my top surgery, and I am over the moon with the results. Like, I am so beyond happy. It's indescribable how awesome it is to just be able to get dressed every day, not think about wearing a binder, not think about how I'm gonna hide the binder, what clothes are gonna look good. Like, everything just looks like the way I want it to. Honestly, I feel a lot happier with my body in general. Like, I've always had bad body dysmorphia, body issues, and dysphoria. So I kind of feel like after the surgery, a lot of things fell into place for me. Like, this looks good to me. So all of my body feels a lot more right to me. And that is just so awesome. Like, I can't even describe it. I don't have any plans for future surgeries. I mean, maybe, I know I can get small reduction on my nipples, but they're not terrible. I wanted to get them pierced before the feeling came back, but it has started to come back, so might be too late for that. I do want to get tattoos. I think it'll look sick. I'm super excited about that. And that's just all of my future plans. Like, I'm just so happy. So yeah, I hope I answered all the questions that people had. I hope it was informational and informative. If you have any other questions, I totally would like to make more videos or just answer them in the comments. So just let me know. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'm hoping to make a lot more videos in the future. I really want to do more talking videos, makeup tutorials, whatever. I love it. Thanks for watching.